Hi, my name is Olivia, and today I am going to be teaching you how to turn an old oversized button-up blouse into a cute skirt. So to get my shirt, I went to my local thrift store. So if you want to make this cost-effective, that's what I suggest doing. You want this to be oversized, so bigger than your body is. This tutorial is super easy, so it's great for beginners, so nobody needs to be intimidated. So what you're going to need is a sewing machine, thread, scissors, some elastic, and a seam ripper if you have one. You could also just use scissors instead of a seam ripper. Seam ripper is a lot easier. I am going to show you how to thread a sewing machine in this tutorial as well. So if you're new to using a sewing machine, I got you. And I would just like to point out that this adorable bodysuit I'm wearing is from Stitches. So go check them out and like and subscribe. Okay, so the first step is going to be to determine how long the skirt is going to be. So take a measurement from the height you want your skirt to be at, mine's going to be high-waisted, to the length you want it to be. Remember though, if you're using an old shirt like I am, you only have so much fabric to work with, right? So you have to plan accordingly. Okay, so after taking my measurement, I figured out that I want my skirt to be about 18 inches. But with the design of this shirt, I want to incorporate these pockets, and the very top of these pockets down to the bottom is 19 inches. So I'm going to go with that. Except the only thing is, there's not really any room to hem it if I cut right across the top of the pockets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the sleeves. Then I'm going to measure 2 inches above these pockets, and then I'm going to cut that straight across. So you can mark it. Actually, I'm going to use the other side of my tape because the end of that one isn't flat. But yeah, you're just marking 2 inches. You might even want to give yourself an extra, maybe like half an inch or so, just, you know, for your hem and seam allowance. And I'm discovering that apparently these pockets are not quite 100% level. So this side is going to have a bit of a bigger measurement, which is okay. It's going to have about 3 inches on this side, but just under 3 inches. But it's okay, it will still look fabulous at the end. Looks like this. Get up there. So I'm cutting the sleeves off, and I'm cutting along this line. the next step is going to be to just sew this shut. The best way to do that is probably to just go along the side of the button, sew a pass on this side, and sew a pass on this side. Just of the front, though. Make sure you're not getting the back of the fabric. And make sure you use the right colored thread. I'm probably going to have to use red thread on this side, and I'm going to have to rethread my machine to green thread for this side in order for it to blend good. So I'm going to be using red as my main color of thread. So I'm going to start with the green pass so it's more efficient. And I don't got to rethread my machine 3 times, I only got to do it twice. So I'll just do a quick run through of how you thread a machine. At least this is how my machine works. Most of them are pretty generic and very similar. So you simply pop the spool on there, and then you hook. There's this hook, so you hook the thread into it. Then you pull it through here. There's an arrow going up. You pull it through here, and now you want to hook it on this hook. You can, if this hook isn't sticking out, you can turn this in order to get it out. So then you're going to hook it. You're going to go back down. Now this is going to get hooked. And there's another tiny little hook right here that you're going to hook it onto. The last step with that thread is to just simply go through the needle. You'll usually need to snip the end of your thread because it'll just be messed up and it won't go through smoothly. Make sure the needle's up all the way. It's the easiest to get it through that way. And stick it through. So now that's done. So now it's the bobbin. Bobbin is this part. So there's this little case which hooks in there. So stick your bobbin in there, and then there's like a line right here on the top. Okay, so that little line right there, you hook the thread into there. So hold the bobbin in with your thumb, and bring the thread up and into the hook, and pull it, and then it'll slide into that little gap. Okay, now with this part, little thing facing up, pull this little handle back and stick it in. You'll know which way it goes because this little line only fits in one spot. And then pull your thread upwards and close that. And you can slide this back on because you're not going to need it now. Now lift your foot and turn the handle. Turn the little knob on the side of the machine. The little knob. So holding your needle thread upwards, just put the needle down. And now when it comes back up, pull on this thread. And see that little loop? There's like a little loop in here. And you pull it. And voila! Your machine is threaded. So I'm just going to be doing a basic straight stitch for this garment. So yeah, make sure your tension's good. Everyone's machine's different, so it's really your preference, but I would do a tighter stitch over a very loose one, obviously. So yeah, so to get this started, remember you want to make sure you're not going through the back side. You only want to be going through the front of the fabric. So I'm going to place this under the needle. You have to be very careful. Like, I got these buttons. These are actually snaps I have. So I need to avoid them at all costs, right? So I have to go enough to the side that it's going to just, my foot's going to just kind of miss them. and isn't going to damage them, and my needle isn't going to get damaged. And if you're new to sewing, there's little lines on your machine to use as guidance for keeping straight lines and keeping the same distance on your hem. Although, for this case, it's a bit different. But it's really the same, like just this line, this little side, I'm going to line up with 3/8 on my machine. So your machine might be different. So I'm going to start. And you want to back up when you first start a stitch. So now I'm just going to sew the elastic chain shut. A good tip though, when you're doing, when you're sewing around openings like this, like where you're hemming a complete circle kind of thing, a good tip is to take this part off your machine. Then you can actually slide this thing directly around it. So then you don't need to worry about your two sides. Then you don't need to worry about sewing the other side too and accidentally sewing your garment shut. So just remember, leave that little gap, that little 2-inch gap. So next what you want to do is take some elastic that is close to the same width as the opening you left for it and figure out how tight you want it. You want it to be kind of snug because you don't want it to be like so loose that it's barely staying up. So kind of snug. So once you have that, go ahead and cut your elastic. Check again. It's good. Okay, so in order to get the elastic through, you're going to take a safety pin. You're going to take a safety pin in your elastic and you're going to loop it through. Go through the one side twice though, so it like keeps going with the safety pin and isn't like trying to drag itself behind kind of thing. And then simply find the opening you left and you're going to start feeding the elastic through.